Well, baby, you've been on my mind. I think about you all the time. Oh, I wanna see your face. That don't make me wait.
Have you had this before?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
As well as that.
Cheers, sir.
Love you, brother.
That's a good one. Yeah. It's actually interesting because that means red in Hebrew.
You're going to say that on camera. You're going to introduce it.
That's a bit.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty bold.
Before
like
we
it.
get rolling, before we
We
get
are
rolling, well, before anything goes out, do you have any questions? Like, are you curious about anything? Do you nervous? Do you want to?
Kind of. So I spent some time in Pasadena, and when I was pulling up here and I saw residence, I didn't do a Google Maps search. I was thinking of a business center, right?
Yeah.
And it reminded me, I don't know if you guys know the San Fernando Valley, what it's famous for. So when I was pulling up here, I'm like, so this is kind of like the adult film industry, what they do in San Fernando Valley in Austin.
Please
I'm like,
keep this.
that's
Thank
pretty.
you.
I was like,
I always do feel weird when I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to go to the studio, and I'm really in my head. I know I'm going to like a place that would feel like.
Well, it's funny because we have artists come in and they love the home feel.
Yeah.
But I never thought about it quite like that.
it was.
Oh, you missed it. That was a good one.
Kind of. I'm like, is there a boomstick coming? You know, right around.
It's good that we opted for not a leather couch.
Are we not crossing streams here? The leather couch is easy to clean though.
Well, we were.
Okay, is that fine, or is that going to be an
You know
issue
what,
for you?
Dan? There's never an issue for me. I just
do it.
I just show up. This is, I just work here, so to speak. All right, let's turn the phone off. Notifications, focus, do not disturb. We fucking moved everything around again.
I know.
Why'd you make him do that?
I didn't make him do nothing. I just drove him from Houston.
It was your comments. Is this my glass?
Yes, that is yours.
This
now
is my
he's got a
glass.
side table.
All right.
Our kids are on the ground apparently.
Awesome. Did we just threw the kids down?
No, he did. He threw kids.
You just threw the kids on the floor?
I meant to put them on the
No,
table.
just throw them on the floor. Just total disrespect for my kids. I guess when you don't have kids, you can they're easily dispensable.
Yeah, it's like
Just fucking throw them around. God damn it. You got kids, Jeff?
I do.
Yeah.
I got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah, 8 and a 5-year-old?
Yeah, last time was a rough night with the 5-year-old because he's a daddy's boy, and he thought it'd be a good idea to come down at 2 a.m, 4 a.m, and 6 a.m.
Oh, geez.
So
A couple weeks ago,
what else are you gonna do at 2 a.m?
yeah,
with your dad,
Charlotte came down a couple weeks ago, and it was probably 3:30, 4 in the morning.
Well, hey, let's jump in.
Yeah.
And have this conversation. I like that. Let's jump in.
I think
You want to introduce our guest?
Well,
or do you want me to-
we're already
I
rolling.
think we were.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks
well,
for ruining my
We're
story.
not officially get it started.
Jesus.
This
This is the pre workup. This is the
the
pre party.
pre-workout?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm not a
Pre-podcast.
doctor. I don't understand that.
You have to have there's a pre checklist.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
this is a SAP pre-check
SAP pre check.
instead of PS.
Test
what is
1, 2, cucumber.
TSA.
All right. So, Matthew,
Yes,
we're back.
we are.
Another episode.
Yes, sir, we are. And I am extremely excited about this one.
Okay.
I've been trying to get these two gentlemen in the same room for a while. So without further ado, I just want to introduce, and we're going to jump into one hell of a podcast. And he brought us a gift of wine that we're going to drink. This is Dr. Jeff Paz. He's going to be our guest today. And grab that whiskey jug of yours or whatever it is over there, because
Whatever you're cheersing.
because this is how we start. Appreciate you being here.
That's a big
Thank you.
glass.
Thank you for
Thanks for
sleeping
having
around
me.
with
Thank you for having me.
Dr.
Yeah.
Brandon and Matthew.
And thank you for the wine.
So tell us about this wine real quick, Dr. Paz. I'm curious. Can we get a good shot of this? It's beautiful. It tastes delicious too.
So that's Israeli wine. Grape is grown there, made there, and it's interesting because that actually means red in Hebrew, Odom. And I live in a fairly large Jewish area of San Antonio. My children attend the Hebrew Language Academy.
Okay.
So we've been part of that community, I guess, for about 7 years. And they introduced me to that wine and just wanted to share with some good friends.
Nice.
Well, I'll tell you, it's delicious. And Thank you so much.
So are you Jewish then?
No.
Okay.
No, I have a good spot for a yarmulke though.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You know, don't.
You
It
almost
is
felt-
Saturday, but
But you went
know,
all the way to
that-
Israel to bring us this wine.
I did.
Oh man.
It was a labor of love.
Yeah.
Well, you sound like almost like, and both you guys know Lewis, my manager at the company I work at. He always goes, "Well, I'm Jew-ish." He
He does do that, yeah. Yeah. Ish.
But no, thank you so much. So you came in from San Antonio,
Yes, I did.
and before I rudely interrupted you guys, is what'd you call it?
Pre-game.
Pre-game, pre-op, or whatever y'all
Their
were
pre-op
talking
checklist.
about. I said that I was really excited about getting you two guys in the same room. There's no secret. People who've been watching this podcast know what I do for a living. Had just the pleasure of meeting these two guys that get it. And what I mean by that is sleep medicine has been part of my life for so long, and to find two guys that are so passionate about it in the dental field. I've had the honor to call on both of you guys as customers and now call you friends. One of the things that I think we'll dive into today in this podcast is just how both you guys are aligned on that clinical side and seeing the importance of sleep. And so I appreciate you being down here, taking the opportunity to be on our podcast, Dr. Paz, because I am a fan of yours and you know that. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I really appreciate coming. Austin's a great city. My two sisters live here. One of them is a physician in the Cedar Park area. So anytime I get an opportunity to come to Austin, I gladly take it. But more importantly, the opportunity to interact with you two is anybody that's passionate about promoting sleep, and as nice as you guys are, I would love I love the opportunity. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're too nice. You're too nice. Jeff, I don't know a ton about you. Matter of fact, we have been in the same room once before,
Oh, really?
I think.
Okay.
Typically there's not a room for too many of us types of guys in one room.
Yeah,
But-
you took the line, but yeah.
but no, I think you were at the VOC last year, right?
Uh-huh.
For Prosomnus
Yeah.
in Vegas. Was it in Vegas?
It was
Yeah.
Vegas. The industry meetings are always good. It's I tell people it's kind of like being in an NBA All-Star game because you got all the All-Stars
Yeah.
there.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
everyone's kind of like jockeying for position. And,
Right.
at the end of the game, you leave it all out there and you say, let's keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So the one thing that's nice about I don't know if they do this at the Somnomed
Some summit.
the summit. But they have the table there when you walk in at
Mm-hmm.
the Prosomnus VOC with the ruler on it. So if you need to, so everybody can just measure.
Okay, that's something that we don't have at the Psalm Summit. So if I'm going to promote, we don't have a ruler out there to measure how big, or in your case, Brandon, how small you are.
I'm lying.
Right.
Len's going to kill me for saying that, but no, I'm lying about
no.
Prosomnus. It's a really good event with a lot of good people in the industry. So,
Yeah.
so tell us about your history. Give us kind of, where are you from? How'd you get into this? And, tell us about you.
Yeah, so it's really kind of like a rocket ship ride for me, and I'll kind of mention Prosomnus a little bit later. But so originally, I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
We're only about 1,500 meters above sea level. So if you've never been, it's a beautiful city. Highest concentration of Americans living outside of the United States, actually.
Really?
Yep.
Live in
And-
Guadalajara.
Yep.
Why is that?
Weather's phenomenal. Healthcare is phenomenal. They call it the Silicon Valley of Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you the cost of living is inexpensive because it's not. And supposedly, the women are pretty nice looking.
Yeah.
But I'm a happily married man to a Mexican woman from the northern part of Mexico,
Aha.
which is a little different.
So Dan and I need to go there. Is what
Yeah,
you're
it sounds
saying.
like Guadalajara's.
So we're going to do a podcast shoot from there, Dan.
Oh, Christ.
Okay.
And the big draw, obviously, mariachi is from there.
Mhm.
Tequila's from there.
Okay.
A lot of traditions that we have in Texas actually come from that area, that region specifically.
Yeah.
And the weather's phenomenal. It's like Southern California year round.
Wow.
So we went back and forth. Specifically, I did. Honestly, my dad got killed in a car accident when I was 4. I was with him,
Oh, wow.
and we were going between Guadalajara and Brownsville,
Mhm.
and it was pretty tough. And my mom was effectively my mom and my dad,
Yeah.
but smartest person I know, my mom. So I was really, really blessed to to have her and to really help me and shape me be the man that I am today.
Mhm.
So we went from like most West Coast Mexicans, we went to the West Coast of California. We went up to Santa Barbara. Then we went up to the Bay Area.
Wow.
And then we went down to the coast in Texas. And we ended up moving to San Antonio. And then kind of my journey started. I went to school in Boston.
How old were you when you like ended up moving to San Antonio and like leaving Guadalajara for good?
Or even the West Coast? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was 18 when I moved officially to San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah. And I went to St. Mary's, a biochemistry major there. And then I was what they call a DMD PhD enrollee at Tufts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a T32 grant. I was a recipient up there in 2002.
Nice.
So, everything was going well. Did 3.5 years of a PhD. And then unfortunately, my stepdad got pancreatic cancer.
Man.
So I had to leave my program. I had to help my mom. And I just stuck with the DDS there in Houston.
So you were at Tufts to do the PhD DDS program or DMD PhD program, and Tufts is a phenomenal program.
Yep.
I interviewed at Tufts. I got accepted, and I started looking
did
at it. I was like, it's just the cost.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just it was insane what it would cost compared to San Antonio. So you didn't actually get your DMD there.
No.
You didn't finish the program. You went back and you ended up going to Houston then.
Yeah, because my dad was my stepdad. Well, I didn't really have a dad growing up. So
Right.
he was really my father figure. He was being treated at MD Anderson, so I only applied to Houston. I didn't apply to Baylor. I didn't apply to San Antonio.
Okay.
It's kind of a gutsy move, but I just said I just
Yeah.
want to be there.
So you finished dental school when in Houston?
2010.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a little bit older.
You're a young buck.
I'm 42.
Yeah.
You don't look a day over 48.
So
I wouldn't have.
So 2010, you finished dental school, and you practiced dentistry afterwards, or did you get straight into sleep?
No, so I practiced dentistry, and I did kind of a panky deal, linked up with two pretty big panky fellows in San Antonio. And, with the panky, in my opinion, with the panky portion, TMJ, orofacial situations you always have to be aware of them, right?
Mhm.
And as we know with oral appliance therapy, you kind of have to be aware with TMJ situations as well. So I practiced as a general dentist until 4 years ago. Ended up selling my practice. And that really I attribute to my wife. She was a practice administrator for Richard Drake. Richard, as you know, I spent 2 years in his practice. Awesome experience, fantastic fella. But I gotta say a funny story about Rich though. So, we're going back and forth the negotiation phase. We finally agree and come in Monday. And anybody's ever met Rich Drake, one of the nicest people you'll meet. And he's like, all right, this is what we're going to do. I think on the schedule I looked, we had 8 new patients and 30 follow-ups. And I'm like, okay. But again, I was a little bit privy to some information because my wife was a practice administrator.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Friday, I don't think we're seeing any patients. So I call Ashley and I'm like, okay, Ashley, just want to make sure everything's okay. She's like, yeah. All right. So Monday, I'm like, where's Dr. Drake? He's not here.
Gone fishing.
Fishing.
And I said, what do you mean? She was like, it's you, cowboy.
And
And I said, Ashley, I'm like,
Yep.
no. She's like, yeah, he's in California. So I call Dr. Drake. I'm like, Dr. Drake, are you really in California?
Oh yeah.
He's like, yeah, I didn't tell you. And I said, I know, but I'm the only one here. Oh, no, you got it.
You got it,
It's just
man.
a piece of acrylic, Jeffrey. He calls me Jeffrey. He's like, it's just a piece of acrylic, Jeffrey.
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
okay. And that was it.
That was
received
it.
4 days of
Yeah.
training from Rich Drake.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, are you guys, I would assume, a fairly assistant-driven process. You utilize your assistants quite a bit for that, or
No, well, the way he does it, and I kind of mimic that as well.
Mhm.
It's really doctor heavy.
yeah.
Like doctor sees every single patient.
Wow.
Yeah. Doctor sees every single
Yeah,
patient.
that's busy.
Yeah. I mean, 400 encounters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly,
2
400 encounters
locations.
a month.
2 locations, San Antonio. I mean, y'all were pumping.
Yeah.
Pumping.
Yeah. We,
Mhm.
I don't, yeah. I mean, it was well over 100. I mean, after that, you don't really keep
Yeah.
track. But learned a lot. So there for about 2 years, and just decided it's the right move.
Yep.
Right move, branch out.
Well, I just cut in real quick.
Sure.
One of the things that, again, you do different, right? That I really appreciated is you were like, I remember when I told you what my idea was. I'll call on doctors. You're like, I call on doctors. I go, you do? You go, yeah. How many lunch and learns were you doing a week back then?
3. So last year I did 103 myself.
Yeah.
Last year.
Like, so you were in there in front of physicians,
Mhm.
and it was awesome.
Mhm.
Like, so,
Yeah.
I mean, that's, one of the things that Brandon talks about with his group that he's part of is, how do you get out there? And I'm trying to help nudge Dennis to get out there. And it was no nudging you. I was like trying to keep up because you were always in doctor's offices, doing lunch and learns, getting dinners, getting in front of them. And so you've always done a very good job of that, which is unique.
We took Rich's protocol, and he likes lunch and learns. I would do meet and greets.
Yeah.
And I kind of do the custom meet and greet where I get a little bit of, primary care. A lot of primary care, they want to do skin treatment. They
Mhm.
want to do hair implants. They want to do, a specialty aesthetic. So you kind of tailor some of the literature to what they do
Mhm.
and what may serve their demographics.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how we approach it. And,
Okay.
it works out for us.
Where would you say, physician wise, where do you get the most patients coming to you from?
Primary care
Primary
by
care,
far.
yeah.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah. So we found that kind of the same thing. It used to be, everybody talks about go visit the sleep docs, go visit the sleep docs, go visit the sleep docs.
Pulmonologist.
And sure, we know the sleep docs, we visit the sleep docs, but the sleep docs just continue for the most part to be very CPAP biased.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so what I have seen so many patients go through, and it's frustrating for patients because they could just get pulled back and forth through this deal, is they go see their sleep doctor, they go to the DME company, they get their CPAP, they struggle with their CPAP, or they do great with their CPAP. If they do great with their CPAP, that's great. They go home, they don't have to do anything else. But for the 50% that struggle with it, they go back to the sleep doctor and he says, we just got to try a different CPAP. Let's try a BiPAP. Let's try an AutoPAP. Let's try this. Different mask, different hose, different filter, different this, different,
Let's get some duct tape.
Yep. And so they send them back to the DME, and then eventually somewhere along the way, they get kind of frustrated
Right.
and they kind of stop using the CPAP, and they also stop going back to the sleep doctor because they're tired of him just telling them, keep wearing your CPAP.
Right.
Right. Then they go back to their primary care doctor, and the primary care doctor says, yep, you're using your CPAP. And they're like, no, couldn't wear it, couldn't do it, and don't like it. And the primary care doctor doesn't know what to do with that. So they send them back to the sleep doctor. Right.
And
Yeah.
it's like maybe another round of
Yeah.
mask fittings they came
Yeah.
out with the new mask.
Yeah, there's some new technology. The box is smaller. So what I've found is those primary care doctors, if we can help them with that other alternative, we can kind of educate them on, hey, instead of just sending them back to the sleep doctor to go back through more CPAP issues, give us a try.
Sure.
We've got an alternative. And that's where we've been really successful in a lot of the referrals
You have.
for Sleep Better Austin.
And it's tricky right now, right? We've had this recall now going on 9 months, almost 10 months now for Philips. We know that CPAPs are hard to come by anyways, even
Yeah.
from our ResMed friends, 3M, anybody. You're having to get them overseas, even if you can get them. Has it softened it up? In my opinion, being out there? Absolutely. But it's definitely not a silver bullet. I thought for sure, oh man, now that there's no more CPAPs, I'll go to these people and it'll be easy, but it hasn't been. But you two guys have been successful in the oral device arena for a while. And so I can only imagine kind of what you've already seen. It's got to be a little more business that you guys are seeing because of the recall. Is that fair? Or have y'all not seen a difference?
And I'll kind of speak on the other side. So I spend 2 days a week in Dallas
Mhm.
in the practice of Keith Thornton, who, you know,
Yep.
Godfather.
Yep.
lots of opinions, but let me tell you, one of the nicest human beings, one of the most incredible human beings that I've met. Second smartest next to my mom. But really, he's an awesome human, and he really cares for his patients. He really wants to help the patients, and there isn't anybody in the world that's done the cases that he has. I mean, especially with degenerative patients,
Mhm.
with neuromuscular patients, you know. So I also do the meet and greets in Dallas. So he's down in the Park City, so I go in the
Mhm.
Park Cities area, and they're all about the same attitude. Most of the primary care say, "Listen, can you help me? Like, can
Right.
you help me with these patients? Can you help me
Right.
with these sleep patients?" And in my opinion, now the sleep, it depends on how you approach them. My opinion. You know, if you come in guns blazing and you're like, "Oh, you know, did you read the SAVE trial? Did you see the HRQ? Did you see
Yeah.
this? Philips, 16 million worldwide. What are you doing for your patients? You're killing them." Then they're going to say, "Go away, you dumb dentist."
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what they think of us. And that's okay.
Yeah.
If you think I'm a dumb dentist or you're a pulmonologist, that's okay. I have no problem with that. Just refer me to your patients, right? So if you approach it, in my opinion, and you say, "Can I help you
Right.
with your compliance, with your
Mhm.
CPAP compliance? I am not anybody to take that CPAP away from your patient. I am a dentist.
Right.
But if there's an interface that maybe I can help you where you can have those patients remain on the CPAP."
Yeah.
Then you turn that conversation into, you're a dumb dentist, to like, "Oh, well, now you're maybe like a smart technician." So, you know, and that we have found success in
That
Park
area.
Cities
Yep.
and in San Antonio.
Now, were you already doing some sleep in your dental practice before you left your dental practice? Like, were you already, or
No,
yeah,
no, it was, I'm serious, Brandon. It was my wife, Alejandra, a beautiful woman, intelligent person. And she's like, "Yeah, well, let me tell you how my day went.
uh-huh,
I changed somebody's marriage. These people were able to have a baby.
yeah,
This
Wow.
person's their blood pressure medication. They
yeah,
were,
yeah,
you know," and that's when I'm like, I'm in the wrong field.
yeah. So for me, it was kind of the same thing, you know, and I talk about this a lot where as a dentist, and I still do dentistry,
Okay.
but my dentistry, thank God, is the life-changing dentistry. You know, I'm pretty much down to only full mouth implant cases.
Oh, cool.
And so, you know, for me, it's just so impactful to take someone with just a train wreck of a mouth
Mhm.
and give them that new smile, and they can eat where they haven't been eating in years. They smile, they're confident that, you know, it just changes their lives dramatically. But the normal everyday dentistry, fillings, MOD composites, crowns, you know, it's helping patients, but it's not life-changing for patients. You know, you give them a shot, they don't like being numb, they don't like being drilled on, it's not a good experience. None of those patients are getting up saying, "Wow, that's the best thing you've ever done for me, doc. Thank you so much," giving you a hug. But these sleep patients are absolutely, for them, it is patient
Life-changing.
after patient after patient.
Life-changing.
Thank you. My marriage, like you said, my health, like you
So
said.
are you guys saying that if I would have seen you guys that I wouldn't be divorced twice?
I could be.
Maybe
Okay. Just
Could be.
follow
I
us
didn't
for
know.
marital advice.
Yeah.
As well.
I do want to say this though. So during the time
weren't
off,
such a
that
dickhead,
Brandon,
too,
that
could
too, that we weren't shooting the podcast, I ended up breaking an old crown and exposing the nerve. And it took 3 dentists. Thank goodness I call on dentists all over. I broke it in Houston. So went to my good friend, Dr. Glenn, who just packed it because I was leaving for a trip to Lafayette to go see my daughter where I live. It ended up getting infected, and an amazing doctor down there dentist down there was able to give me the shots, give me antibiotics, calm it down, and noticed that I had to get a root canal.
Yeah.
Well, I work, right? So I flew up to Oklahoma where another Carrie Sessom's office was able to get me in touch with somebody who did a full root canal, and now a temp crown on for now. So I would tell you that was life-changing because that pain,
Well, when you're in pain,
I'm going to tell
Yeah.
you, I didn't care what it cost. And literally I swelled up. I mean, it looked like I got stung, and it really did. And I'm not being silly because I usually could be silly. But I truly appreciate what you guys do even more now than ever, because I've never had that happen before where I was
Yeah.
in that kind of pain. And when I tell you, guys, it was horrible that one night, and I'm not proud of this. Like, I was trying to make calls like, I got to take something. The strongest thing I had was Propen, which was 600 milligram ibuprofen. It wasn't touching that.
Yeah.
It was not
The
touching
mouth
that.
pain is
So,
serious. It's a big deal.
so when all jokes aside, man, that was life-changing for me. So I am grateful that I'm telling you, and I went through 3 dentists in 3 different states to help me out. But it was
Now,
very
you were
grateful.
you were in a part of the pill mill where you're like calling on. I'm
No,
just kidding. I'm
no,
just kidding.
but I did. Well,
I'm just
listen,
kidding.
watch this. I got some awesome advice. So I ended up going to a 24-hour Walgreens. I got these cotton swabs and got that Oragel, the liquid one, and really just soaked it in and literally tried to numb everything. Now, did I still have the headache and stuff? Yeah. And might I have gotten into a little bit of whiskey? That's between me and Jesus. But I will say that, I mean, it helped. Just having something packed in there. I mean, it was horrible.
I have sorry to
Go ahead.
interject if I may. I have a funny Keith Thornton story to tell. So I think it was about the 3rd week that I was in his practice. You know, Park Cities, University Park.
Beautiful.
Kind of have to,
Mhm.
you know the demographic and know your audience,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So 82-year-old patient, her brother was an orthopedist. She was referred to KT, as I call him. And in like the mid 90s, I don't know, 90s, way back then. And he introduces me to the patient. And I noticed something kind of peculiar about the patient, you know? Her jaw was kind of like protruded.
Yeah.
Like protruded. I
Yeah.
mean, it was
Like
out there.
Yeah, like a boxer, like a dog
And,
boxer. Like
I'm looking at her and I'm looking at KT and I'm like, you know, it's Keith Thornton. He's got to know what's going on.
right.
And he goes, how do you feel? And he starts saying, he's like, good. He's like, now I know. He was like, now Jeff, come over here. Now I know. You're probably a little worried that you look like a cash register. And I'm like, and I look over at
That
Nelly,
bottom drawer open.
and Nelly puts her head down, and I'm like, and he's like, and I said, Dr. Thornton, what did you say? You know, cash register, she's way out here. But you know, you're live, aren't you? You're happy you're alive, aren't
Yeah.
you? So there you go.
82 though.
And I
82.
just said,
So
there's
she's
no
been,
way.
she's been wearing the appliance for 30 years or
30
something.
years.
Yeah.
But obviously, the AM aligner, the morning
Right.
occlusal guide, whatever you want to call it, wasn't around.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but that's the
Yeah.
level of appreciation that these sleep patients, they look like a cash register.
Well, listen,
but,
I'm
yeah.
not telling you two guys something you don't know, but just go back 40 years. Thank God for KT. Because even before there was CPAPs, they were just drilling holes in you.
Yeah.
And you were trached, like you were breathing from then on. So it's amazing how far we've come. So yeah, John might be out there, 82.
82.
Who's she going to impress? I didn't mean that mean. That's Dan's demographic for ladies. But I mean, seriously, she can breathe.
Yeah, she was
Honestly,
happy.
she's doing
and
something
she was
right.
so appreciative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
Well, that brings up an interesting topic. How often these days, and in as many cases as you've done and you've seen, what is that percentage that you see that have those types of side effects? Because we all see them, we know it happens, but I still think that it's getting less and less. I'm seeing less of those changes.
I've only been in this for a little over a year, so
Yeah.
I would be a hypocrite.
What's the statistics? What does SomnoMed have any data on bite changes with their Avant?
They do. And what we promote as a company is less than 5% will have a reaction. I think TMJ, we're on
Yeah.
board with ProSom, just oral devices in general.
Yeah.
It's like it could be upwards of 15% will have an effect on their TMJ. But the morning aligner or just the exercise or different things. But I want to say it's less than 5%. Now, I could be wrong, and I apologize if I'm saying it wrong, but I know that I haven't physically seen one, right? Because I've only been in the industry a little over a year.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen a cash register or
I've seen some cash registers for sure.
have you really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't see a lot.
They're happy.
I don't see a lot. I see some open bites,
Okay.
see some, I see a lot of posterior open bites,
Have you? So
a
have
couple
you seen-
anterior
but
open bites.
Think about how long she's had that tap or whatever she's on now. That's 30 years of wearing a device. I mean, she's a case study in itself. I don't know if I don't know if I've met anybody that's had an oral device for 30 years.
For that long, yeah.
I really don't.
There's lots,
I mean, he's
especially in that
I don't
in
know
his
how many
practice.
Yeah, I mean, he probably 800. I mean, 1,000. I have no idea how many
Wow.
of those he has.
Yeah.
So what we usually do, and that's a really good question, Brandon. So, in my opinion, that kind of goes back to when you do the meet and greet. So, people, I think dentists, we get in our own ways when it comes to approaching a physician for asking for a referral because we think that we're not adequate. We don't think that we're part of the medical team, and we have our own preconceived notions. The younger physicians, especially, they're happy
Wide
to get
open.
you involved.
Wide open.
Right. But in my opinion, it kind of depends how you posture the initial conversation. If you're scared of talking about pain or discomfort, then that physician, those patients that they're going to send you, the expectation may not be realistic.
Yeah.
Mm.
They may be expecting no, you can't have any pain. You can't have any discomfort. So we train the physician and we train the referral coordinator, especially. That's kind of like the little dark secret that nobody talks about, that the referral coordinator has so much power. They're like the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
A lot of times the physicians won't even know where to
Where
refer
or
the
who.
patient.
So let's stop right there for a second. So in the training that I've done with our team, so referral coordinators were so huge for me at Philips. And one of the things that's made me successful in this job, besides my rugged good looks and great personality and sense of humor, is knowing who to go to. There are these practices that are so big that there's programs that referral coordinators use that automatically puts them in categories of United, Cigna, whatever.
Yeah.
And this has been the trick, and I'm going to give a trick out to anybody watching this that's in sales. The trick is to get the dentist into that system, because right now referral coordinators, it's all a computer system now. Now, do they oversee it? It's not the old school referral coordinator, a lady walking back there going, well, I need to send to Dr. Smith or to Dr. It literally is. And so to get the dentist to part of that has been a challenge, but also been victory. Because once you get one in there, that's usually the only one that's in the
Right.
referrals.
Mhm.
So anytime there has anything that has to do, and there's keywords that they can put in these programs, and I'll share with you guys the programs. There's four different programs now. There's keywords that they can put in there that will automatically trigger to get to that dentist that sends it. So you're 100% right. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the blessing of the physicians there.
Right.
It's all in him or her who's running that program or the referral coordinator.
And we like the advanced practice providers. They used to call them mid-levels.
Yep.
They don't like to be called that anymore. So the advanced practice providers, because they usually, they spend a
PAs, nurse
little
practitioners.
bit. Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
Nurse practitioners, PAs. They usually spend a little bit more time with the patient.
Right.
So if you're able to coach
Yep.
that nurse practitioner, the PA, and say, look, these are reasonable expectations.
Yeah.
And I told people, have you ever sent a patient to go see an orthopedist? They have orthopedic surgery. They have a shoulder replacement.
Mhm.
There's physical therapy.
Yep.
I said, come on. So in my opinion, if you set that compliance protocol as such in line with ortho, and I mean orthopedics, then you have a higher level of success as far as patients wanting to use your appliance. Because our protocol that we established, we say this: I expect for you to have discomfort for 3 mornings.
Yep.
If you don't have some sort of discomfort for 3 mornings, you're like the 1%ers. I said you
Yep.
can take ibuprofen, you can take Tylenol.
We say first 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay.
We do.
So discomfort being jaw, joint,
Mhm.
teeth,
Teeth.
lips,
Mhm.
Yeah.
just generalized discomfort.
And, we're big advocates of physical therapy.
Mhm.
There's YouTube videos that we get them
Yeah.
on. It's 45 seconds every single day.
Yep.
I jokingly tell patients, you're in traffic, instead of white knuckling it, do your physical therapy. They're like, oh,
You know what?
okay.
This is a good place you keep saying let's talk about where you are now, and we'll jump back into the conversation, because I definitely want to promote where you're at now, Dr. Paz. I think it's important.
Oh, when I say we, I
Mhm.
mean my wife Alejandra, who's our practice administrator, Dr. Dave Ferguson, who's one of our partners, and Dr. Alex McKinley, who's one of our other partners. I couldn't be blessed to be more, a better group of people.
Sleep Apnea Gurus,
Yeah.
based in San Antonio, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Great location, great name. Saw that you're starting to do more on social media. Love the testimonial that y'all just put out this week.
Oh, thank you.
That nice lady. It was
Yeah.
great. And so Dr. Paz is doing some neat things with a good group. I've been lucky enough to sit in a meeting with them, talk to them. And I think you guys are going to take San Antonio by storm, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, one physician at a time is kind of our motto.
One physician, that's a t-shirt. I like that.
That's kind of
Yeah.
our motto. But yeah, you know, reasonable expectations. We do encourage the patient to do the physical therapy, 45 seconds. And we're big on AM aligner,
Yeah.
morning occlusal guide, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So we don't see that many issues.
Yeah, I'm the same. We don't see that many. I mean, it's not uncommon, and you know, I think the thing that you see too, and it's always funny because as you see more volume, you naturally are going to see more issues. You know, when you only see 5 patients a month and 2 of them have an issue, it's like a big percentage. But when
agree.
you see 200 patients a month and you have 10 that have an issue, that's a low percentage, right? But so you're going to see them. There's going to always be. Not everybody's going to be 100% compliant. Not everybody's going to be effective. But I think setting those expectations with patients and also with the doctors, the one we've struggled with a little bit, and some of this is just software and data entry and staffing and training, is the dentist, the general dentist or the restorative dentist.
As far as referrals, or what do you mean by
Not
struggle with?
referrals, but how often this has happened to me more recently, where the patient comes back and says, well, I went to my dentist
Oh, yes.
and they said, you're going to ruin my teeth
Yes.
and my jaw is going to be
I've
fucked.
I've heard this one. I've
You're-
spent $45,000
Yeah.
on my mouth. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And so my dentist told me to stop using this, and you run into that sometimes too.
Yes. I got a really funny Rich Drake story.
You got
So,
a lot of these rich stories.
You know, you spend time with a couple of characters, Richard Drake and Keith Thornton. You pick up on a case and you pick up on a story.
Yeah.
He tells me, you know, this orthodontist, he just kept, I don't know what to do with him. So finally, I reached out and I called him and I set up a lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Dr. So-and-so,
Thank you for not saying the name.
thank you for taking such a strong interest in your patients as an orthodontist. I really commend you. But I also want to make sure that you're going to be at the head of that patient's casket and you're going to tell everybody, look how straight that person's teeth were. That's me. And I'm just laughing. He's like, and that's what I tell him.
I can see Drake
You know
saying
what?
that.
That's a damn good line.
Oh man.
You
So
know, so
I got-
I agree with you,
I got
Brandon. We
something
see a
on-
lot of that.
I got something I'm
unfortunately.
going to throw to you guys that I had planned. Right?
which 2 of us?
Both you guys. And I'm only seeing one of each of you right now.
Yeah.
It's first glass of wine
Yeah.
on a Saturday morning.
I see double yet.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've run into recently within the last 2 months that I've had some success with is bariatric surgery. So I'm curious. I want to get y'all's take on
Is that how you
this.
lost all the weight?
No, just heroin. But
That'll do it too.
I like to work out.
What's faster?
So I think one of the areas is I started thinking about, and you clued me in, but I did have this prepped, is I know people that have gone through this recently, some dear friends of mine from high school. And the very first thing that they get put on when they start is a CPAP, if they weren't already on it. So I started thinking to myself, I was like, man, it's already hard to get CPAPs now.
Yeah.
How about I run interference? I did this up in Oklahoma. And when I tell you, I've probably done, and this has only been 5 weeks, 20 something cases.
Wow.
So I didn't know if it's a requirement or not. And maybe y'all two can cue me in on this. Have y'all had any luck with bariatric surgeries, or have you talked to them? Because that patient is going to lose weight drastically fast. I think it's the average is 60 pounds within the first 2 months.
Wow.
Right. And it can also be the lap sleeve. It doesn't have to necessarily be the whole,
Yeah.
but to have them to have something that's going to help them to keep their, I'll throw it out to you guys. Have y'all dealt with any of that yet?
So we've one doc that we've worked with a little bit. The other ones we haven't had as much luck with. And, I think that part of weight loss, we know the leptin and the ghrelin and the hormonal component and the appetite and that kind of stuff in terms of being able to not only lose the weight, but also keep the weight off. And I've had, hundreds of patients who have come in and said, you know what, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm working out, I'm taking my vitamins, I'm eating right, but I'm not shedding pounds.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, the minute they put the CPAP on, the minute they put their appliance in, they start losing weight. And it's just because that sleep is such an important factor of the weight loss. So now that being said, a lot of these, and I don't want to misspeak here in terms of when you get that big, I think the bariatric surgery really does help kind of kickstart this, but you still have to have those other habits. And most do a really good job of coaching them through, here's how your diet's got to change. Here's how your portions have
But
to
is
change.
that dietitian throwing in the breathing component? So
But that's where a lot of them aren't.
Probably not.
That's where a lot of them aren't. And a lot of them think, well, when they lose the weight, they'll lose the sleep apnea. And I see a lot that it gets better. I've seen very few where the sleep apnea goes completely away. So
it won't go away.
I had a patient just a couple weeks ago. Her AHI was 84 before surgery, and then after surgery, it was 37.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's an incredible reduction.
Yeah.
But you still got severe sleep apnea. And yeah, well, and so you still have sleep apnea, you still have the problem.
Right.
And so I just think that if we really paid attention to and if we could get these patients on an appliance or a CPAP before they go into surgery and they continue to use it afterwards, they're going to see better results and they're going to see faster results.
So one of the things that you
agree.
guys can challenge me as the person who works with you guys in each of your towns. What I found is that if we could start it right after their surgery, so right when they go in for that first assessment where they learn about the diet, they learn about the skin, that they're going to be having to have a surgery to get the skin taken off. Because a lot of them will lose weight fast, but they still have skin on their throat. But they still, and it could be
Everything's
this
saggy.
whole time, it could have been issues inside or smaller, but they've always been big.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people who've had these surgeries, guys, they've always been big. This also gives them an opportunity to get that jawline stronger too. If you think about it, that's kind of like that new direction now that I'm putting out there for my competitors to jump on. But it's just been awesome. What about you? Have you seen with any bariatric surgeries or heavy people losing weight?
I haven't, but what we do know is wound healing, right? If you sleep better, especially
You talking about with diabetes like neuropathy, or you just mean wounds in
yeah,
general?
wounds
In general.
In general, you,
All right.
you just heal faster.
Right.
You get more growth hormone, for example.
Because I've had this cut on my back for 4 weeks.
It's not going away. So yeah, I think
It's a bed sore.
I think it helps definitely, and I learned a little bit of that through the military. I've been fortunate working with the Fort Hood group through Colonel Philip Neal. And
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that at all.
Oh,
but
speak about another good guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Philip's amazing.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
He's a super dude. Yeah, we're actually supposed to give a course in December, but I guess COVID got all threw things out of whack.
You said what?
We're gonna give a course in Fort Hood.
Because of what though?
COVID.
What's that?
What's that?
Oh,
Fort Hood's in Texas, right?
Yeah, we don't have COVID in
I don't
Texas.
think we had COVID here.
That's God.
That's kind of like a theme here. I apologize.
Oh, got it.
We've had a lot of guests from other states where COVID's very serious.
So I'll throw this out there, and I know this is going to be public. So both Lynn and I, we did a podcast together. Lynn, actually, it's going to be by this time you've already seen it, but we both went to Fort Hood. Both had meetings over there, and it's interesting how they're tackling sleep apnea now.
Oh yeah.
And the wait times. And so I will I'll throw this out there, a veteran, a very new veteran. She's been out of the service for 4 years. In September was told that she needed an HST and wasn't going to get it till December.
Yep.
Wow.
And then once she got it in December, she was going to get her results read by March, and then probably either given a CPAP or device. And so one of the initiatives also that Lynn and I agree on, by the way, is being more proactive for our veterans and getting them care ASAP. And so we've really kind of pivoted. Both of us were probably on the same page, just same book, different page, but getting it out of that prosthetic side where it's old school dentistry, this is what they need to do, and really taking it back to sleep, to those sleep doctors who are right outside Fort Hood, the big sleep lab out there that does DOD, and saying this is why we need to have sleep devices on our veterans. Now, both the companies can get you a device ASAP. Like, let's just put them on something now. Like, we'll put them on something now versus having that wait time. So I'm a big fan also. And I just want our veterans to be able to be, Brandon and I talk about this weekly.
Yeah. Well, my brother's a vet, and he's active duty, still active duty now. And he flew special forces helicopters. And, my dad's former military also served in back in the Desert Storm days. It's frustrating sometimes when you kind of see what, and I'm glad that they have the benefits that they have, but in order to use those benefits, sometimes it's just a nightmare for them to get into the system, get through the system, and then to come out on the other end and actually have to get the care that they need and to work through the paperwork and all that kind of stuff. And I wish there was a way that we could simplify that. And I think that's something what you guys are doing. Yeah, well, working faster,
on it right now. I know that Dr. Paz and I have also had conversations, even in San Antonio, all over every area I work. And if there was just a way, I just, same story, my brother, my dad, my passion is to serve in general, to help people breathe. But when I found out how hard it is for them to get on an oral device versus a CPAP, and now you can't get CPAPs, it was crazy.
Well, even a CPAP, and I'd be curious, I don't know if there's a way, Dan, because I don't know how comments work or listeners, but I'd be curious to see if we had people that were, that see this, and if they could share, like, if they have a CPAP, how long did it take them to get it? Like, anybody who's gotten it recently.
I love that.
Like, if we could get, like, all over the country, like, people from different spots. Oh, it took me this long. It took me this long. It took me this long. I'd be curious to see, because I'm seeing our patients here, a lot of them, from the time that they get sent to get a sleep test to the time that they actually get a CPAP might be 8 months.
Well, now I don't even know if you could say that.
Yeah.
It's probably longer.
It might be longer.
I will tell you,
I don't know.
I've been in deep with this. So Central VA Lab is out of Plano. I was able to have a meeting with the directors there. Dr. S has been amazing. And we're just trying to figure out a program. So how does that work, guys? The Central Lab, basically, if there's a VA in Salt Lake City and they identify that somebody needs a CPAP, they can't get a CPAP, so they order an oral device. Guess where they order it? They go all the way to the Central Lab. The Central Lab contacts SondaMed. SondaMed there in Plano gets it made, gets it sent to Central Lab. Central Lab then sends it. See, there's just extra steps where we need to, and they do a great job. That team over there is amazing. They do, this number's crazy, guys. They do over 1,400 something unique devices daily. So bites, retainers, all that. Sleep, just out of Central Lab, they do 40 to 50 devices a day out of the Central Lab. So that goes all over the country.
Yeah.
But not every VA is covered under that uses Central Lab.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, having all these different hoops to jump through just makes it so much harder and more complicated. And every time you have these extra hoops, it's where you lose compliance. Patients fall off and patients fall through the cracks. And somehow trying to close those systems so that less patients fall through and less patients quit. Because eventually patients just they're like, well, I know I need this, but.
And I know you're on the forefront of this with me too, brother. I know. I don't know how much you could share, but I know you're on the forefront with me fighting it, man.
I was lucky enough to be invited to Lackland, Wilford Hall. Okay. They have, I learned they have the largest sleep lab in the country. 16 beds, 50 consults a day.
Wow.
And they invited me to speak on hybrid therapy. So it was really neat to see. I mean, you're in a room and I was the only dentist, and it was like, okay, well received.
Yeah.
It was well received. And that's when I started thinking to myself, okay, you know, all these individuals, the Phillips and the KTs, and that have gone into the military and said, listen, we need to do something, Len, yourself.
Yeah.
We need to do something. It was nice to see that there was fellows in there receiving hybrid. And what I mean by hybrid, I mean oral appliance and a CPAP. So
Yeah, let's get into that. So, hybrid therapy. What percentage of your cases are hybrid cases?
small, I mean,
Yeah.
5%.
Yeah, you do a lot when you do it. Are you using the TAP-PAP? Are you doing just CPAP with any type of special? Do you have like a specific type of
I would
CPAP
think
or?
it would it be nasal mask versus full face?
So it depends if we do attached or unattached.
Okay.
You know, if we do unattached, then really Somnomed, taps, you know, those are
Yeah.
those are some good
You're
ones.
so, you don't have to do
Um,
this shit.
But if we do the attached, I really like the TAP-PAP.
Yeah,
The
that's
chair
okay.
side is good, but you know, I really do like the full face mask.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, we have a mutual friend, and I don't want to say his name right now. I don't know if he's ready for it, but
Joe.
is doing an amazing job. Has a study out now, done his own as far as the patients that have been on combination. Has even come up with a concept of the mask with device that I think is really unique. And so I do. I you know, I take Brandon's word for it. If two's good, four's better. But you know, I'm still a little on the fence of combination therapy, just because I came from, maybe it's because I drank the Kool-Aid for so long on CPAP and ventilation, right? And then now I work for Sonomed and it's device, you know, so I do see there would be a benefit, but I just don't know how. What
Well,
percentage.
well, for us, it's a small percentage too. It might be like you said, the 5%, and we don't do a lot of TAP-PAPs. We've done a handful. We've done quite a few. For me, most of the patients are. It doesn't matter if it's attached, if it's unattached. It's will they wear the CPAP or will they not wear the CPAP? And sure, some patients are like, I don't like the strap. And if the strap is your biggest concern, well, then TAP-PAP's probably the way to go because you can get rid of the
Right.
straps and you can be connected and you can be attached and all that. But you still have the pillows, you still have this stuff. It's still kind of rigid. You still have the hose. You still have, you know, if you turn with that and you pull that hose, now you're attached to your
Right.
mouth.
right?
And so now the bar sometimes is being pulled this way, you know. And so for us, I just have found that a lot of our patients do perfectly fine with their combination therapy if the pressure is the issue.
That's what I was gonna ask,
That's
yeah.
more the patients that will do the combination therapy.
Okay.
They're like, I wore my CPAP, but God, I got so many leaks because my pressure was a 15 or whatever, and just
Yeah.
blowing out my face. Now they're wearing their appliance. They put the same CPAP on over whatever device you choose, and their pressures are down to an 8 or a 9, and they're much more comfortable. They're not getting the leaks, and they're willing to do that.
You know, you just said something there that is so big to me. I meet a lot of these sleep dentists, and they're still trying to get to zero. They got to get to zero.
DHI?
Yeah. And I will tell you that this
man.
is coming from someone whose daughter, who will be on here one day, is religious about her CPAP, and she's turning 17 in February. I think AHI is so important, guys, but it's kind of what you mentioned with.
I think it's the
patient
least
who lost
important
her.
metric we have.
But hear me out. I do think it's important. It's subjective, though. How does that patient feel? Trying to get it down to a certain number is ridiculous. It's ridiculous because someone could be at an AHI of that 15 and feeling great because they used to be at a 42 or 47 or whatever, and now they're doing great. But it is, I don't know if I should use the word antiquated, but man,
Well, it was kind of an arbitrary deal. Like, you know, somebody was drinking one night and decided we need to kind of come up with a system for how to score this. Let's just make it this. I feel like that's how they came
I
up
mean,
with it.
time
don't know
below
for sure.
90, I think, is really important. The patient has a sympathetic response.
I agree
I think
with you
those
there.
things are important. These are the conversations that I have with patients here in consults. I said, these are the things I said, and I'm a dentist, right? So I can't really offer you a professional opinion. I'm just going to kind of give you some metrics that we look at. And, you know, when you start getting into heart rates and you start looking at sympathetic
Yeah.
response, that really gets patients' attention, especially with the American Heart Association
There you
putting
go.
out their scientific statement in July. You know, but I kind of agree with Brandon when you look at the AHI and they're like, well, now we're going to call it an ODI because RDI didn't work and REI didn't work. So now we're
Yeah.
going to call it, you know,
They
ODI.
just keep putting up these
And,
numbers.
you know, so.
I'll give you an example. I had a sweet old lady. She was 84 years old. This is one of my very first patients. She was the grandmother of one of my dental assistants.
And did she look like a bulldog?
She didn't. She
No
had
cash
no cash
register?
register, no cash register, no bulldog. Sweet old lady. She comes in. She had an AHI of 23.
Yep.
Oxygen was an issue. She could not wear the CPAP, hated the CPAP. She had this really
God.
tiny little face. She was a little woman
Mm.
with this tiny little face. And so, you know, fitting a mask on this tiny face is an issue. And she just complained about the CPAP, couldn't wear it, da, 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 da. We got her in and we made her an oral device. It was, in fact, a Somnomed.
Okay.
I think
Just go with it.
it was years ago.
Oh,
And
before I was there? It doesn't matter.
before you were there. And
kidding,
we adjust it, we calibrate it, we get her wearing it. She's compliant with it.
Mhm.
She's feeling better. She's sleeping better. We come back, we send her back to the sleep doc. She gets a post study, and get the correspondence back. This woman comes back into the practice, and she's frustrated, and she's crying, and she's angry, and she's like, "My doctor says this isn't working.
Because the hell.
My doctor says
Yeah.
that this is a failure." These are the words on the report.
Failure.
Oral appliance, patient wearing oral appliance for study, failure, insufficient, patient needs to go back on CPAP. Guess what the AHI was?
7.
12.
5.3.
Oh my
3.
gosh,
Oh.
at that age.
Wow.
5.3, 84-year-old woman,
That is,
and the physician says it's a failure.
that's ridiculous.
You know, and so, you know, you mentioned dentists trying to get it down to 0. I don't know that the dentist, I think we still have a lot of the sleep physicians out
Oh,
there.
no,
that
no,
think
no.
0
I
is-
agree. Hold on.
0 is the golden
I
standard.
agree. But what I was saying is I have some sleep dentists.
Yeah.
Because that's how they were taught. And they were
Yeah.
like, I did a couple of cases. You guys know the stories. I didn't get reimbursed. I couldn't get the patient to 0. I'll never make any money. This is stupid. I'll just
Yeah.
drill and fill and take off on Fridays. And
You know, that's kind of setting the expectation as far as the compliance goes. And when I speak, and in all honesty, Brandon Waltman, Mark Murphy, Marco Baby, they were really, really helpful when I started speaking. Really nice guys, very supportive. So really, they helped me a lot. And one thing that I learned as I started speaking, I would notice that dentists wanted to treat this like a temporary crown.
Mm-hmm.
oh, wow.
And they're like, if it's high, if it hurts you at all, if it feels different than anything you've ever had before, then you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
so
and
setting that
it's like,
expectation.
It's
Yeah.
not a temporary crown, bro. It's
Yeah.
an oral appliance. It's to maintain the patent,
Yeah.
the airway patent. It's not a temporary crown. And it goes back to like taking the RAB or any exam, like, oh, I feel a little bit of calculus on
Yeah.
there. And medicine doesn't see it that way.
No.
Medicine is like, we cut your AHI in half. You're doing pretty well. As a matter of fact, you ought to buy me dinner. You know, that's the way physicians treat sleep. And we don't. We beat ourselves up so much over that.
Well, think about
Well,
it.
there's
Like,
a perfection thing.
yeah,
that-
I think dentists,
go ahead.
we live in this land of millimeters,
yeah.
right? We live in this world where if you are 0.3 millimeters over the line,
Right.
you have a bad crown or it's a bad filling. And we got our loops on and we got our light on. And so we live in this world where we are just driven for success and perfection to the millimeter.
Yep.
Okay. Now we think about medicine. What happens when a physician sees a patient that has hypertension? They say, we need to try a BP medication, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. How many BP medications are on the market?
Remember, I used to sell them, but there's a ton now.
A ton. Why? Why are there so many BP medications?
Because
on
the
the
gold
office?
standard keeps going down
Well,
for
because it doesn't work on everybody every time. So when a physician
Systolic, dystolic, change.
prescribes the blood pressure medication, the patient goes to the pharmacy. The pharmacist fills the script for the blood pressure medication. Patient goes home and takes the blood pressure medication. They go back to check with their doctor, and their blood pressure is still high.
Yep.
Is the pharmacist thinking, "Oh, I fucked up. I did something wrong"?
No.
No. Is the physician thinking, "Oh, I'm a bad doctor"?
Nope.
No.
Let's try something else.
They're thinking, "Hey, that didn't work. Let's change the dose. Let's try a different medication." And I'm kind of the same way in sleep. It's actually kind of refreshing.
Well, I thought the analogy or the correlation you were making is like what we've said before in a past podcast, that gold standard has changed so much. I mean, you guys are old enough to remember when your blood pressure needed to be 140 over 90 was good.
Yeah.
Then it was 130 over 80. Then it was 120 over, and it's almost seemed like it was led by pharmaceutical. I don't know that, but the AHI has not changed, guys.
Well,
It
I
has
think
not changed in years.
It's
30 is mild moderate.
It's the standard, but it's also just the perception of
Good word.
needing to be perfect versus understanding that every person will respond differently to every medical procedure
agree.
and every medical therapy.
Well, personally, you measure in millimeters. That's good to know. I didn't know that. I never
do.
thought about doing
Yep.
it that
Got
way.
another
Yep.
shirt.
Sounds way
Yep.
bigger.
It just sounds because you get to add more.
Yeah, wouldn't it sound bigger?
So,
guess, yeah.
yeah.
we got-
Going back to that table
So that-
for
so that-
800
personas.
millimeters
I was gonna
is
say
is
17.
Yeah.
is
Is it
so much
17?
is so
Yeah.
much better than 8
Man,
inches.
I just learned something. So no wonder what you guys learned is the ProSonus.
Speaking of getting big,
Oh, sorry.
speaking of getting big, this is a good point in time to. I apologize. I have to interject though because I got a new hat.
I was paying attention to that hat. What is
Yeah.
that about?
What do you think it's about?
I think it might be our first. Is this one of our?
Well, the hat was free.
Okay.
The hat was provided to me for free, so I said I'd give a shout out. So TMIC Performance stands for Tell Me I Can't. Tell Me I Can't Performance. A good buddy of mine, Barrett Smith, up in Colorado. They've got a fitness, performance fitness camp. They work with a lot of baseball players. And they do a lot of like high school age, stuff. And I said, you know what? I love the new brand because they just updated their brand. And so Tell Me I Can't Performance. And they're all about breathing.
Nice.
They incorporate breathing and neuro into their fitness and workout routine. So it's not just about working out and getting big and getting strong. This guy has people doing, squats and lunges with bands while doing different head positions and looking at eye charts and doing different eye, exercises. And he used to be my personal trainer and I worked out with him a lot. And so anyways, they sent me the hat. They're going to sponsor the show.
Good.
At some point in time. I haven't charged him yet for this shout out right now.
Well, if he would give me one of those cool hats, I
But I like it.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
it's nice
So that's
hat.
Barrett Smith and Tell Me I Can't.
That's great.
Tell Me I Can't
I like
Performance. Because
I like
when
that.
you tell me I can't, I'm gonna.
that. Yeah. Because I
Oh.
was wondering, I didn't notice the green hat you were wearing this whole time.
Yeah, you usually do a pretty good job of matching, and that doesn't match.
Well,
Everything
I don't.
Except for these beautiful socks that I would
Oscar.
also love to get a
Yeah.
sponsor for. What are those?
These are
Those
Bombas.
are bombas.
Well, I was
Yeah.
just praying we had a green screen, so this whole time it just looked like.
Just
Let's get a shot of those bombas.
So
Shout out
that
to Bombas.
hat size,
The
what is?
Sesame Street Bombas.
So what hat size is that in millimeters?
Extra large,
Gosh, you got a big hat.
large, extra large.
Yeah, I'm a 7.
He asked me. He told me they only come fitted, and I said, "Oh, I'm a 7 3/8."
You have a huge cranium.
Is that big?
Yeah,
What do you?
I wear a 7/8, but I go bigger
7
to cover
1/8?
my ears. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's bigger. What do you wear? You got
I have no idea.
anyway. Then
Yeah.
so then he sends me this elastic, large, extra large. So even though he said it was fitted, it's not really fitted.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah. So, anyways, I know it's bright. I don't think I have any clothes that actually match this hat. So
You've got an American football shirt,
Oh,
not American football.
it's
But
yeah.
that's the joke. Yeah.
Alpha Foxtrot, buddy.
Sure.
Okay. Whatever.
I
Sorry.
thought, well, what about that Green Lantern costume that you wear with Jenny?
the
Oh, sorry.
Green Lantern?
I'm so sorry.
Oh man.
Because when he ordered it from me, he said, "I want abs built in."
You know, when we
I
bring,
said, all right.
whenever we bring Jenny on the podcast, it's going to be funny because the team has told me that
Jenny, there's no Jenny, by the way. I've been lying to everybody saying I met her and had dinner with
she's
her. and
coming
Brandon.
today. She's
Uh-huh.
coming today.
She'll be
Did
here
you get
today.
catfish and you don't want to admit it?
What was that story? Who was that Notre Dame player? that,
Sue. right?
No.
It's a Polynesian dude.
A
Samoan
Hawaiian guy.
Teo.
yeah.
Teo.
Manteo.
Manti Teo.
Monte Teo.
Yeah.
Something like that. Look it
Yeah.
up.
Is he still playing? Is he? Or is
Oh
he,
yeah, no, he still
Is he
is.
really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was great for the Chargers for a while. Then he ended up injuring himself going to San Francisco. Manteo.
That sounds. Yeah. that's-
Is he? So he's not catfished anymore.
No, but what a great story.
Interesting story.
I don't know. Jeff, why don't you tell about the time you got catfished?
Yeah.
Well, I was about 7, and her name was Wendy.
And she had red ponytails, and I kept going to the restaurant looking for
Oh
her.
man.
It's Manti Teo.
Manti Teo.
Yeah.
Manti, we're going to give you a shout out, man. What a phenomenal football player. I mean, phenomenal. Where did he end up playing? No, he played for a while, brother. Like,
Well,
he was good.
he was Notre Dame.
Right,
And
yeah.
I don't keep up with the pros, so I don't. Once they
He
go
was
to
a
pros,
Saint. He was
I
a
lose
Charger.
track.
Saint Charger.
Is
Let
it
me
San
go-
Fran?
Let me go to
Dude, he was
Wikipedia.
legit warrior, man.
Yeah, you got Chargers, Saints, Bears.
Bears. The
Oh,
Bears.
The Bears.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure if he's.
That is a shame if he had to finish his career.
All
at
right.
the
So
Bears.
I want to get back to
Sorry,
sleep.
sorry.
And no, it's okay. No, I like that. I
Yeah.
think that's what our podcast's about. Again, what our podcast's about. Sleep apnea gurus. Who came up with the name? I love it.
When
you first told me that, I was like-
has to be
Okay.
Dr. Dave Ferguson,
Okay.
my partner in crime.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard. A little bit about Dave. It's kind of hard to contradict his marketing prowess because he's in about 5 different practices. I think he's almost at 30. So I don't know much about marketing. I only know how to speak to physicians.
And Dave's a dentist also?
He's an orthodontist. yeah.
Orthodontist. Okay.
And he's
Yeah.
part of a very large group. Well, he owns a very large group, and
Mhm.
I had a pleasure
it.
meeting him. Yeah.
And he was like, "What do you think about this?" And I said,
I mean, you're putting your
"Don't
name
love
out there.
it,
But think about it. You're putting your name out there.
Don't
So I
love
like
it,
the
but-
confidence. Brandon and I love confidence. So, like, what do you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
name your name? I don't know. Sleep apnea guru. So, like, let's go.
So it's
Like, I
funny.
love it.
It's funny you say that. Our marketing director, Andy Young, who does a fantastic
Mm-hmm.
job, he goes, "Dr. Paz, look at this. Just yesterday, so Hunter and I were there, and I guess Amazon has something called Sleep Gurus."
Mhm.
And I looked at it, I'm like, man, they're using her colors. The only difference is that they have an actual guru,
Yeah.
right, with the little mustache. And I told Andy, who's Caucasian, I said, "Andy, we might be able to modify our logo a little bit with your mustache that you have going on, those little handlebars. You're going to be the face of gurus, bro." And he just started laughing.
That's funny.
But no, I joke, but it's a great name, and I love what you guys are doing. So from the time I met that location, by the way, great location.
And this is San Antonio.
Yes.
And
What part of San Antonio?
So we're 3 blocks south of North Star Mall, and everybody kind of knows North Star Mall because it's the
boots.
mall with the boots.
The Boots.
We're right on San Pedro.
Okay.
3 blocks.
That's a great area.
south.
It's got to be unique though. I like to call myself the hardest working man in sleep dentistry. I really do. I'm gone, sleep in a hotel every night. You're giving me a run for my money this last 4 months, brother. You spent half the week in Dallas under KT or with KT. I apologize.
Well,
And
pretty
then-
much under. I mean,
Okay.
I'll call
Yeah.
it how
Okay.
it is.
And then
So
half
he's the
week-
top.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
then half the week.
I walked right into that one.
Oh,
I got Max a
my
t-shirt.
man.
I got Max a t-shirt
Uh-huh.
for his birthday last year that says Power Bottom.
Uh-huh. I don't know what that means. What do you mean, power bottom?
Google it.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
do it. But also half the week in San Antonio.
Mhm.
And so I know you grind. I'm serious, man. You're on the road like I am. How's that been, this transition? Because you just recently started doing this the last 4 months, right? Am I correct on that?
June.
Okay, June, July. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Longer than that.
June. So,
Okay.
I was hoping to kind of stay in San Antonio a little bit more, but funny you ask. On Friday, they just invited me to be an author. Texas A&M did for the National Institute of Aging. We're doing a dementia study
I love
Mhm.
this.
and oral appliances with the mouse shield. And so I don't think I am. I'm going to be leaving.
And
Dallas
there'll be,
anytime soon.
we'll take care of it this time. now that Matthews was Somnomed versus the last time they tried to sponsor Texas A&M.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't necessarily need to talk about that.
Yeah, we
but
don't want to
let
talk
me-
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let,
But it's a fantastic
Yeah.
group. Emmett Schneiderman, kind of he's our pack leader, and
what a great opportunity. God.
Yeah, it was.
Great
They
opportunity.
kind of wrote me into that.
Yep.
But
Rope.
we're working with Keith Thornton is just you got to be a thick-skinned individual.
Yeah.
There isn't a whole lot of there's just no nonsense there. I
Well,
mean,
Brandon's really thick in the middle, so he could work with Keith Thornton well.
Punch all day.
he he just really commands that you're in it. You know?
How much longer does and
Well, again, he cares about the patient.
He really does.
And so this
He
is
really
where that
does.
stems from. And I know Keith, and so I know that's where it comes from. It's like
Yes.
he demands that every patient you see gets the best that they can get.
Yes.
And I think that's okay.
that's what I was going to jump.
I
in.
really do.
Brandon's a lot like that, and I'm being as a compliment. Like I like that director type personality. You're a lot like that, Bob. Like
Yeah.
this is how I've worked with all of you.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that because you're putting the patient first.
Yep.
And if your employees, team, or
Mhm.
people are not on board, get out of the way.
Yep.
Even manufacturers, get out of the way.
But I'll tell you, well, at least for me, the team that's there and the team that does the things that they're supposed to do, you're not going to find a more generous boss. Like,
Right.
we're going to take care of them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, KT's lead assistant has only been working with him for 40 years.
Yeah. Only.
You know,
Yep.
so
Well, and you
I
can't
think,
get rid of yours. You're married to him.
no. I mean, we would not have sleep apnea gurus if it weren't for Alejandro. That's one of the things that Dave and I quickly identified.
Yeah.
So the transition from Rich to doing our own thing.
Yeah.
We looked at each other. We're like, we don't know what we're doing.
Well, here's the thing, non-compete, no non-compete, contract, whatever, there's so many people out there that need this. There's so
Can
many
we tell them what we
doctors.
said earlier
What did we
about San
say?
Antonio? San Antonio is just
San Antonio's, it's huge.
There.
There's so many people. There's so many doctors. There's so many people with sleep apnea.
So many apnics.
There's so many sleep apnea people there
Huge.
that, there's not enough dentists between you and Drake and anybody else who's there.
Tiff.
Right.
Yep.
There's Tiffany's down there.
Yep.
There's even the three
Super
of
nice
you guys,
person, by the way.
even the three of you guys together, there's not enough. You don't have enough hours in your day to see all the patients that need
And it's
your
growing.
help in San Antonio.
And it's growing.
So we have a second presence out in the SeaWorld area as of September. And it's interesting you say that. Andy, our guru, our new guru face, confirmed that we now have 70 unique referring physicians.
Mhm.
How many?
70. You
Yeah.
know? So, but again, it's a
No, it's
tribute
awesome. It's
to
awesome.
doing a meet and greet and getting
Yep.
in front of them.
No, I think the work was
when
put
you
in.
think
but,
about
yeah.
it, when there's 4,000 physicians, we only have 70.
Yeah.
That's what
We
Brandon.
only
so
have 70
that's his mind.
referring to us.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, totally. And I tell people all the time, I work with a lot of dentists, and they say, well, there's only this many dentists, and our model is kind of a dual pronged approach.
Yeah.
Like we have the meet and greets and the oral appliance, but then we also have the programs where we're in physician offices doing testing for them.
Okay.
And so that's the other business that we have set up is it's a sleep testing business.
Mhm.
And they, how many doctors are there? And, you might live in a town with 100 doctors or 200 doctors or 500 doctors if it's a little bit bigger. But even the small town guys, it's like, well, there's 100 and something doctors there. You really only need one or two to work with.
Yep.
If you have one office that you're in, then you're helping screen and test every patient that comes
Yep.
in the door. That is enough for a really good business.
I think what opened my eyes, guys, in doing this a little over a year now is meeting Philip Zellner,
Yeah.
who did our podcast, and going up to Tulsa.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Oklahoma, and I didn't realize, but all the patients that are just flooding now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, in my own backyard, Houston, Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, that are way bigger than Tulsa. Maybe not Austin, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
bigger. That I'm just blown away at what could be. And it took someone who is from there, who's been in the DME world, sleep world, like Philip has, to open my eyes to go, oh my gosh, like we hadn't even gotten there. You putting a number on it's even better, because I was like, man, 70, that's awesome. And you're like, yeah, when you compare how many physicians there are, it's really not all that great. But that's how you two guys are different. And that's how I started this podcast. Like, it's a joy for Brandon and I could speak for Waltman. It's a joy for us to call on you guys, because not everybody gets it. Not everybody understands it. Not everybody has the passion for it. And I knew getting you two guys together in a room for the second time
Second time.
with no ruler.
Yep.
But getting you two guys in the same room and talking, that only our audience would just learn a ton from. So
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Well, Brandon Waltman, it's interesting. Alex Biedermeyer from Dynaflex,
Yep.
another really super, super nice guy. But Brandon was the first person when I was at Rich's practice to come up to me. And he's like, how long have you been here for? I said, only 7 months. He's like, has anybody come out to meet you? And I said, no.
Wow.
And he was just like, oh. And really, he took me under his wing.
Yeah.
He took me under his wing, introduced me to a lot of people.
Yep.
And so going back to the team, this, that, when you say sleep apnea gurus, it really is partnering with
Yep.
people from industry,
Yeah.
people from academia, people from the military. All of those individuals is who make our practice. At
I
least.
agree.
And when you see individuals as human beings and you forge relationships with those individuals, that's when it's really fulfilling, in my opinion, practice.
Yeah.
Because you're like, man, I need something. Let me call Matthew.
Mhm.
I need something. Let me call Walton. And then I have.
Yeah.
And they delivered. So it really is an honor to be able to forge these relationships. The American Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine, Trish Braga, kind of a plug. We did the case of the quarter. It was a post polio and oral appliance management case. It's this January.
How many patients?
I invite you to read it
Okay.
for the Journal of Dental Sleep Medicine. And Trish Braga and I have been working together now for a year and a half.
Wow.
And if I need something, she's there. There's some cases I don't know what to do, and she's very insightful. But all of these people kind of make up our practice. And really, I'm fortunate to have access to all these individuals. I mean, now to Brandon. And it's really a collective
Sure.
approach.
Takes a village. No, I agree.
And if we're like, no, I'm going to do this my way. And I am a headstrong person, but I don't have that bravado in me. Like, I like to work with other people and say, collectively, we can promote sleep and
Yeah.
we can make a difference.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is promoting sleep and promoting that the health and wellness that comes from sleep and the necessity for sleep. You mentioned the dementia study and the aging deal, and I just finished reading. Or actually, this was a couple months ago. I know we talked about it over Thanksgiving. The Sanjay Gupta book about brain, what's it called, brain whatever, and that's how good it was. But the number one thing that he kept coming back to in terms of dementia and Alzheimer's, the number one thing was sleep. And
breathing.
so he
Yeah.
came back to not enough sleep or untreated sleep apnea,
Okay.
meaning poor quality of sleep. So untreated sleep apnea, not enough sleep, highest indicator for future dementia, Alzheimer's, loss of cognitive decline, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so it's so important. And yet we continue to, see people that just take it for granted, don't place the importance on it, and don't see it. And so if we can get out there and promote the benefits of sleep and how important it is, and people can restructure their lives and to put a higher value on it, we're gonna have a better society.
I think
I
one
think
of the
so.
one of the questions, and I know we are coming up on time, but I was thinking about this, Dr. Paz, because I know you. So when you're in Dallas, you're still doing meet and greets as well?
Yep.
Gosh dang. And
Walnut
practicing.
Hill area, which is Presbyterian.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Park Cities. Park Cities is interesting because that's more
We've talked about
like
that.
concierge.
Yeah, we've
but
talked.
Those guys are awesome, though. I love meeting the concierge physicians because,
They have the greatest job ever.
again,
It's the greatest.
we're like,
My mom went to a
oh,
concierge. Yeah.
Did she?
She did. Oh, yeah.
And,
before she passed.
we're
Yeah.
like, oh, And they're like, "Hey, what's going on, bro? Hey, how
Yeah.
you doing?
They
Hey,
have all
here's
the
my
time in the
number."
world.
It's like,
Yeah.
let's work together.
Yeah.
And you're like, we're in Highland Park. And
Mhm.
one is assuming, and these
Yeah.
guys are like, no, hell, help me. Like, help me
Yeah.
with these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you want to see them? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And, you know, we do work with Southwest Research as well.
Yep.
And that's the thing. We as dentists just need to get out of our own way.
Because it's interesting. I didn't know how much time you had because, we've talked off air about the Baylor opportunity. And I just didn't know, are you tied on those 2 days and just full?
So my days in Dallas, I have to.
Because I introduced him to Dr. Ty and
Mhm.
conversations, but I didn't know if you even had time. You're up
Wait,
there.
sorry. I thought you said tied. Like if sorry, what was the question, Matthew? Sorry.
No, I didn't know if you already had commitments that you're already tied to make those calls and stuff. If you had time to do something else while you're in Dallas.
Oh no,
Okay.
really can't. And now
Okay.
it's interesting with the grant that we'll
And the
hopefully
A&M thing, I figured you just
we'll
slammed.
be submitting that in March.
Okay.
And now it's going to kind of keep me even a little bit longer in Dallas because I'll actually be treating these cognitive behavior patients
Yeah.
with oral appliances
Okay.
at Texas A&M.
Okay.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
Okay. No, I was just road warrior, man, and sleep apnea gurus. Do you have any final thoughts, brother?
No, I love what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
Keep it up. And, you're making a difference. You're putting a dent. I think if collectively we can just continue to grow this, and I mean, we're barely scratching the surface right now. Understand
Agree.
of what we can do and how many people we can impact and how we can improve our society with what we do. And so I appreciate you doing what you do and all that you're doing. I look forward to seeing how you grow
thank
and
you.
where sleep apnea gurus will
And,
be.
grab that
in the
moonshine jug and let's do a cheers.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for
having
sleeping
me.
around with
I
Dr.
really
Brandon and
appreciate it.
Matthew.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
When
you
the
very
sun
much.
goes